WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News This Morning live stream starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Action 2 News This Morning live stream. And we want to get right to that breaking news that we wrapped up our show with on air at 7 o'clock this morning, as police in Menasha continuing to respond to an active incident there. Police having shut down the 1500 block of Greendale Street and the 1000 block of Fieldcrest Drive due to that active incident. Our reporter Emily Roberts has been live there all morning long. You spoke with law enforcement there, Emily. You've been on the scene. What have you learned so far this morning?
Emerson, a Menasha police lieutenant, tells me officers are still dealing with one person after removing other people from what they're calling an active situation. Since I've been on scene this morning, I've been asking questions, been trying to get some answers for the people who live in this neighborhood. And right now there's not a whole lot of information about what that active situation actually means. But I can tell you, it looks like there's a lot of law enforcement activity around a house. So let me step away and we'll give you a better look at what's going on. It's a little difficult to see because of the fog that's been moving in, but there are some Winnebago County Sheriff's vehicles, squad cars from police agencies, as well as a trailer from the Winnebago County SWAT team. So that is something I can tell you, is we have seen that SWAT trailer pull onto Greendale Street this morning. Lieutenant Matt Spiegel says crews responded to the situation after learning about it on the 911 text line just after 11 last night. So this has been going on all night into this morning. Lieutenant Spiegel does say people living in the area shouldn't be too concerned. He says they are safe right now. So along with the Winnebago County SWAT team, Neenah Police, Fox Crossing Police, they're both helping the Menasha Police Department as they investigate this situation. Our Action 2 News team is also going to continue to follow this and bring you the very latest, both on air and online. Live in Menasha, Emily Roberts, Action 2 News.
Emily, we appreciate your work out there again. She's at the 1500 block of Greendale Street and the 1000 block of Fieldcrest Drive in Menasha for that isolated incident, and we will continue to check in as that continues. And you can see the fog there in Menasha, Steve, and look at all this fog, and the sky cams behind you as well. It's kind of moving into our area. It's kind of spooky. It's just like popped up out of nowhere, right? Like I'm doing right now.
Do you want to join this Brady bunch of foggy sky camera shots?
This is a foggy party going on here.
In a lot of places, yes, but not everywhere. Like, not foggy in Manitowoc.
Beautiful sunrise in Manitowoc.
Great
Look
sunrise.
At that. That's beautiful there.
35 degrees.
Not
fair.
Not so much in Appleton or.
Well, yeah, Appleton's got some fog. Oshkosh and Green Bay, but Shawano and Sturgeon Bay, not that foggy. The fog has been forming in a very narrow band. Here's our nighttime satellite, and obviously the sun is now just coming up. But you can see the imagery from the pre-dawn hours. The fog is in this blue, and look how narrow that is as it kind of pushes its way into Calumet County, Outagamie, and Fond du Lac counties. If you go north of Highway 29, you're not hitting that fog. The visibility is just fine. Visibility is fine in Manitowoc, but I bet you if you go a few miles inland into the county, the visibility suddenly drops. And I'm seeing right now, this is breaking here, Emerson, the National Weather Service has just expanded this dense fog advisory. Initially, it was Wapaka County and West. Then they added Outagamie and Brown. And now they've included our southern counties, Marquette, Green Lake, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan counties. That will expire at 10 o'clock.
What is the cause of that? Like you said, it was looking like just in Wapaka County. You said maybe there's the potential it can expand, but it just kind of really covering the whole area now like that. How does that happen?
Well, what's been happening is we've got a cold front that's been dropping south across the area. And as that front has been coming in, the air all of a sudden has gone calm, which allows the temperatures to drop a few more degrees until we hit our saturation point. We call that a dew point. And then voila, the fog has been developing. There's still some moisture near the ground because of melting snow. And so the visibility, you can see in some places it's actually changing as we're pulling in fresh live data. Quarter-mile visibility right now, Fox Cities, Green Bay, out towards Wautoma. Oconto, look at that. When it says 0.0, that's really just a matter of a few hundred feet.
That's incredible. I mean, dangerous for the morning commute, right? Drivers out there, make sure those low beams are on. And
on a localized basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the other thing. Not all, but some of our temperatures are flirting with freezing, like Oconto, 27. 30 in Shawano. So where we have fog and the temperature is dipping down to 32, as Catherine's been telling you all morning in First Alert Traffic, There could be a couple slippery spots out there. Now, this fog is going to disappear between now and 10 o'clock. You'll actually have some sunshine in a few hours.
We found it yesterday. You had that wanted poster that was up there,
Right.
and the sun didn't want to mess with that, so it turned itself in, and we got to enjoy it for a little bit.
And you got your reward, which is seeing the sun itself.
A smile.
There's
on
no
our faces
cash
as
reward.
well. Yes.
But we're going to do a flip-flop.
Okay.
Yesterday, we went from clouds to sun. Today, we go from sun to clouds. But we're going to get up to about 43 around 1 o'clock this afternoon.
That could be a record, right?
Yeah. That's our next weather maker.
Record-breaking day.
Record warmth possible this afternoon in the Fox Valley and across east central Wisconsin. And it may not be just this afternoon. We may have it again this weekend. What's happening here, Emerson, is that there's a big clog in the jet stream. Okay, so let's say you've got a tub and you get a bunch of hair in the drain.
Ugh.
Well, then it doesn't drain out, right?
Doesn't drain. You got to unclog it.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got this clog developing here in North America. Low pressure down towards the Gulf Coast, high pressure right over top of it in the northern plains. And because of that clog, the Arctic air is staying way up towards the north. And our temperatures will not be all that chilly for this time of year. First alert pinpoint predictor shows highs getting into the lower half of the 40s. There'll be some 30s in the north.
45 in Wautoma. Wow.
Right. Now, our record high today is 42.
Okay.
And that was, established back in 1922. And in 2022, we probably will break that by 1 degree. And you can see after a 37 tomorrow, there's more warm air for the weekend and into early next week.
And we'll get to hang out with the groundhogs tomorrow, or you said maybe they'll see the shadow, maybe
Do you
not.
get scared if you see your shadow?
I tend to not get super scared when I see my shadow. It doesn't really jump out at me like I would expect. But
You're
I mean,
so brave.
I can't blame a groundhog. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
All these people are looking
it's a
at 'em.
rodent, right? What does it know?
Yeah,
right?
they're on TV. There's all kinds of people. It's scary, but we'll check in with that tomorrow, Steve. We will trust your forecast a little bit more, though. I think we appreciate it. Now we want to check in with Catherine over at First Alert Weather, and we were talking about all that fog. You're actually tracking a crash right now as well this morning.
Yeah, we don't know for certain if fog or visibility issues had anything to do with this, but we just want to let people know where this is happening.
course.
So you can see the Green Bay area here just to orient people. So I'm going to go a little bit north and west, Highway 29. This is happening right at County F, which is basically between Bondwell and Angelica. And you can see, we don't know for certain, but it definitely looks as though the eastbound lanes are slowing down because of this crash. So I haven't had a chance to call Shawano County officials just yet. We just learned about this to find out whether there's cars blocking the lanes or if anyone was hurt, things like that. But for now, if you're going through that area, definitely just watch for those first responders.
And that's the joys of this live stream, right? We get an
Yeah.
extra 20 minutes or so for that breaking news like that, and now we're talking about that fog here. Look at that.
Yeah, this is just another vantage point from what Steve was showing you. His Skycam is in downtown Oshkosh, but this is west of downtown, right along, of course, the I-41 corridor. This is the Highway 21 exit, which is Omro Road. And the way the camera's pointed right now, it's facing north. So off in the distance is the Butamore Bridge, which I would not want to be crossing right now. You can see how thick that fog is. And again, as Steve was saying, it's kind of in a narrow band, but it can really, change and move quickly. So just if you're down in the valley or Oshkosh area, even, Fond du Lac, just be aware that you could encounter that fog.
Catherine, always great chatting with you, and important tips there. We appreciate it. Now we're going to head over to the First Alert Safety Desk with Kristen filling in for Aisha today. And we had some new news right at the top of our newscast about 2023 and some consumer complaints that DATCAP was dealing with, and you're highlighting some of those this morning.
Right, this just came down, this report this morning, so some information about what some of those top complaints are in 2023 that I imagine are probably at the top of the list a lot.
Sure.
So some of those are, we're going to tell you about some of those, and actually the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection gets about 11,000 written complaints every year, so that's a lot. So one of the top issues is landlord-tenant issues, and a number of those deal with things like security deposit returns. Another big one topping the list is telemarketing. A lot of people hate getting those phone calls. There was a lawsuit actually against a company that allegedly placed 157 million calls to Wisconsin phone numbers that were on the National Do Not Call registry.
That includes text messages too, not just the
Yeah,
phone calls.
yeah.
The text messages, that's...
Yeah, it's
I know
annoying
We
when
all get
people
annoyed
I
with
know.
those, right? Yes, absolutely. We can all agree with that.
Right. So, and then another one too that's always something big on people's minds is identity theft.
Yes.
And, that happens so often in so many different ways. So it did give some tips about how to kind of protect yourself. And a couple of those things were, creating unique passwords. I'm probably guilty of not creating, unique passwords all the time. So they really think about you making unique passwords so people can't figure those out. And then activating the two-factor authentication for your important online accounts. Also, another thing you can do is take a look at your credit report for clues.
A couple of ways you can monitor your identity is just get your free annual credit report and check it out to be sure that the information on there is accurate and reflects your security profile, your credit profile, if you will, to be sure that scammers and identity thieves aren't using your information to receive services and credit in your name.
And of course, if you're the victim of identity theft, you can contact the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. You can also do that for any other consumer complaint you might have, and we have a link on our website, WBAY.com, for people to do that.
And the identity theft, that's something that's
huge.
so prevalent nowadays. People really wanting to pay attention to that, especially with tax season,
Yes.
rolling in. I learned that you actually need to, they suggest that you file your taxes sooner. That's something I
Yes,
didn't
that's
know.
important as well. That's
So,
another tip that they give.
Very interesting to learn all of that, and always great to share that information. And now another message for parents. There's a nicotine pack that's made in Europe, but it's becoming pretty prevalent here in the U.S. as well, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting story, but also concerning for parents too. So this is something called Zyn, and it's marketed as an alternative, a nicotine alternative to smoking, to regular smoking. It's becoming popular on social media. Of course, there's social media influencers out there. Well, these ones are called Zynfluencer, and you can see this is what Zyn looks like. They're small little pouches, and something that you put in your mouth, up in your upper lip and gum, and you can keep it there for up to an hour. And these pouches come in different flavors like coffee, cinnamon, citrus, and peppermint. And they've been popular for a while in Europe, but now because of social media, they're getting the attention of young people in the U.S., and some of them under the age of 18. The Zyn pouches do contain a smaller amount of nicotine compared to traditional cigarettes, but medical experts say any nicotine-containing product is a health risk. And according to the Centers for Disease Control, nicotine can have a negative impact on brain development, which continues all the way through your mid-20s. So now actually lawmakers are getting involved, and there's more scrutiny on Capitol Hill. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling for federal action to regulate more of the marketing when it comes to nicotine, and is also calling into a specific investigation for Zyn marketing as well. So.
Always important to make sure parents are checking up on
Being
their
aware,
kids,
yeah,
being aware,
definitely.
and some great stories this morning, Kristen. We appreciate you being here at the First Alert Safety Desk to share them with us. And
Thank
we
you.
can check those all out online. And now we're going to take a sneak peek at small towns, because we all know how much you love these stories, and we certainly love sharing them with you. Here's something you can watch for tonight, Small Towns with Jeff Alexander. Now, they may be from a small community, but they've certainly proven over the years to have big city talent. And this year, this local dinner theater group celebrating its 40th season of dazzling performances. We're talking about the Michickany Players. That's who Jeff's meeting up with in Oconto. Their upcoming play, Frankenstein, is going to be their 135th production, spanning 40 years. That is incredible. It all started when a friend encouraged Victoria Bustet to start a theater group, and with enthusiasm sky high and Oconto High School offering its auditorium to help the group get going, the production on that very first play began. And just 4 months later, the Michickany Players unveiled MASH in the winter of 1984.
Sold out the auditorium, which was 240 seats, sold it out 6 nights. It was amazing. And from there, we just kept running.
If just for that moment, you're not thinking about everyday life, and you're lost in it. And that is such a wonderful gift to give.
Now, in 1987, the Michickany Players found a permanent home, a former Methodist church that was gifted to the group by an anonymous donor. Over the years, more than 500 people have played a role in that theater group. You can learn more about that unique history of the Michickany Players. That's tonight at 6 on Action 2 News, Small Towns with Jeff Alexander. Looking forward to that story. Now another story that's happening now. How does it sound to work out whenever you want to at the Oshkosh YMCA? I think we all would enjoy that, right? Being able to work out whenever.
I mean,
we got
our
weird
hours are
hours.
weird.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're making it available for people like us that maybe work those weird hours. You can work out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, year-round. Now, you do have to apply for the 24-hour membership in order to do so, and it costs an extra $5 a month. So, got to do that. But the only way to apply, you got to go to the Oshkosh location. It's on 20th Avenue. And once you're signed up, you've got access to all that stuff. I think we can appreciate
You can go at midnight
that.
before work.
Exactly. You get warmed up, ready to go, and get a nice little run in real quick, pump some iron.
I was at one of the Ys in Green Bay yesterday with my kids, and it was had like double doors, you know, and it said 24/7 members, make sure the outer door is closed. And I was like, what? 24/7? But I guess Green Bay must do this
It
too.
must be a thing.
Apparently, it's always open at the YMCA. I was waiting for Emerson to do that at some point this morning.
I was there with you. I should have. You could have just messaged me or let me know, but that's all right.
Spontaneous. I want you to be spontaneous.
We do enjoy the spontaneity, and that's why we enjoy the live stream. We had some fun with it. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thursday morning, so close to Friday. Yes. Be careful with the fog out there this morning, the morning commute. And we're going to give Catherine and Steve a chance to get ready for their cut-in on GMA. That's coming up at 7:23, about 2 minutes. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Give a wave to the camera over there. We'll see you tomorrow morning.